It has been a hot minute since I made a video, and it has been even a hotter minute since I made a video about the Datsun. I am finally gonna get back to the Datsun project. I forgot how to record my face because I have to look at the camera here. I've had a really big hiatus because I've been working on the Subaru. The Subaru is running great, for those of you who are wondering. And I have some very exciting news about the Datsun and the whole project in general. I kind of took a turn of events and I'm still doing a restoration. We're going to get it restored, but I'm gonna make it a little thicker. Let me show you that right now. So in the 2 or 3 months I've had off from the Datsun project, I have been designing this. And this is a 3D printed body kit. So each and every piece has been designed to go together kind of like Legos. And I also got these two beautiful things. These are Prusa's MK3Ss. And so those two printers printed all these parts. I'm now just waiting for an epoxy gel that I'm gonna be using to join all these plastic bits. And then once I join them, I'm going to put them on the car and create a reverse fiberglass mold. And then from the fiberglass mold, I will then make carbon fiber copies. So this won't be the kit that will be used on the car. This will just be used to make the mold. That's some exciting news that I've been wanting to share with you guys for a while. I've been posting little updates about it on Instagram. If you guys don't follow me there, it's the same username, BradBuilds. And now let's get back to the Datsun, I guess. In this episode, we're going to be cleaning it, and then we're gonna be doing a bunch of paint prep on it. You know, fixing the panels, fixing the dents in the front, the rust spots in the rear, just, you know, everything getting ready to paint. We're not gonna paint it just yet, but we're gonna do everything to get it ready to paint. And before I do that, I'm just gonna show you guys some videos of kind of where the car sits right now, you know, how it looks, how dirty it is, and then we'll get to all the fun stuff.
What happens if you don't do this to yourself?
Well, it's the end of the universe. It's the end of time and space continuing.
So you're facing your own mortality and the mortality of all existence.
Yeah.
Wow. What do you think happens when we die now?
Let's do it. So I just finished up the other side. I'm cleaning up the door jambs right now. When I pulled off the door seals, it left all this residue. You know, this car was sitting out in the sun for a long time, so the rubber like baked into the metal and it left all this residue. And I've been trying to find different ways to get it off, but eventually I just gave up and resorted to a die grinder, which worked phenomenally. And I don't know why I didn't think of it before, but it pulled off all the residue really quickly. So now I'll do that to the other side and show you guys. Now all the excess rubber is taken off the door jambs. They're looking great. I mean, they don't look that great, but they're clean of the set. Now, as well as cleaning the car, we're actually prepping the car for paint because eventually the car is going to get painted. So everywhere where there's gonna be paint, the only places there's not gonna be paint is a few parts in the rear are not gonna get painted. But, you know, the spare tire hole here, all the rust that's gonna get removed, it's gonna get painted. The hatch back here has some rust spots, so this needs to get patched, painted. Obviously the entire body is gonna be painted. The front, the entire engine bay. And yeah, I mean, pretty much everything that looks like crap is gonna get painted so that it doesn't look like crap. The next thing I wanna move on to is the rear hatch area. It's the same as the door jambs in the front, that there's a bunch of residue left over from the rubber seals. So we're gonna get that off. I've actually already removed it on the left side, and it's nice and soft here. And I've removed all of it from up there, which it used to look like that. So we're gonna get that off of this side, and then we'll move to the front and do some other things. So right now I'm just removing the seal that goes between this bottom piece of metal and this upper piece of metal because it's corroded and obviously just pops right out. And then when we go to paint, we will put a new seal in here to make sure that condensation and water doesn't get in there. And now it's finally looking good back here. We're gonna move on to the front end. This whole area up here has a bunch of crinkling. I've said it 100 times, but I think this car was in an accident. And you can see the sheet metal is just like warped in a bunch of different places. Kind of see back here. And then again here. And then pieces like this are broken. So we're gonna try our best at getting everything straight. All right, so I finished sanding down that front section and it's looking pretty good. I wasn't able to get all of these kind of grooves with the current bit I'm using. It's just not, it's like not pointy enough. So I ordered a new one that'll come in the mail and then I'll get back to that. For now, we're gonna start moving on to the engine bay. Before we do that, I don't know why I left the exhaust in here. It's like totally rotted out in multiple spots and it will never be used again. I don't know why I left it in, but it needs to be removed. So I'm gonna remove the exhaust and then we'll start sanding down all this good stuff. And just a quick note in relation to amount of time, I know because it's time lapses and like music is happening and but this entire section took me like 5 hours. It's probably just because it's really intricate and there's tons of little grooves. So I hope this won't take me another 5 hours, but it might. Maybe it'll take me more. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Getting like dark marks around my face from wearing the mask. I feel like it's gonna start bruising. So this is where we are at right now. We have tons of rust spots that are getting eaten down. I'm not gonna put it all down to bare metal just because it, you know, a lot of it doesn't need to. I was kind of checking to see if there was, you know, rust up here under this paint, and there was none. So I'm gonna leave a lot of the paint and just do the little bits where there's deep rust spots. What I'm noticing is that there is less rust near the front and a ton of rust near the rear. I'm not sure why, but like here, the frame is pretty good. You can see it's like super shiny. And then back here, you can see all the craters and the dark spots. So I don't know what that's about. I don't know why the front versus the rear. So I need to now sand under here, and the fender's in the way, so the fender has to come out now. We finally get to see what it looks like under here without the fender. I actually haven't even looked under there. Now we got the fender off, and check out this grime. Oh my gosh. Only a couple years of buildup, just a couple. Look at this spider web. That thing's been a brewing for a long time. Ugh. But yeah, I mean, there's surface rust, but there's no rot holes. Once again, this Datsun has amazed me. I mean, it looks amazing. Day 4 or 5, I don't know. Enough that my facial hair has changed like 5 times. But I took the honor of removing the fender on the right side as well. And you can really see after all the cleaning we did that it was really just so dirty. There was, again on this side, a massive spider web. And the other side had, you know, one a little smaller, but this is disgusting. I feel like every time I take more apart on this car, there's just more massive spider webs. They never end. So some more comparisons. I de-rusted this side. There's still like paint and whatnot, but no more rust. And then this side hasn't been done yet. And you can see there's just so much surface rust. But this is moving a lot faster than I actually thought. I thought this was gonna take weeks. I don't know why I was so scared to get into the painting and paint prep, because this isn't that bad. I mean, it's like tedious and it's a little annoying sometimes, but in general, it's really not that bad. So if any of you are, what's the word for it? Procrastinating. So if any of you are procrastinating about getting into the paint prep part of your builds, it's really not that much work. Just fucking dive in and get it done, because that's all you can do. I'm not gonna videotape this next part just because it'll be super repetitive, but I'm going to clean up this entire fender again and pretty much get it matching to the other side, how I've, you know, de-webbed and, you know, de-rusted the top and got it ready for when we're going to rust prevention, primer, whatever it's called. The next video will be hopefully a cleaner car. There is some rust in a few spots that's not coming up. So I looked it up and I found a solvent. It's called like Rust Reformer, and I will spray it on these rusty spots that aren't coming up with the grinder. And supposedly it just dissolves the rust. For right now, I'm going to remove the front end because I'm gonna move to this side and the steering rack is in my way, and, you know, engine mounts. I also wanna sand in the wheel well because, you know, there's obviously rust and stuff back there too. And I ain't leaving no bridges unturned, stones unturned, rocks unturned, stones unturned. Yeah, I'm gonna remove that front end. All right, so I now have everything unbolted besides one bolt on each of the top of the shocks and one bolt on each side of the subframe. This is the subframe, that big piece of metal. So it's kind of just like dangling by a couple bolts. I mean, everything can kind of like, it's hard to see on camera, but it's like jiggling. So I have the jack holding it up, so the subframe shouldn't just drop. I'm gonna take the shock bolts out first and see if they'll probably flop, you know, smack down a little bit. And then I'll undo the subframe bolts and slowly kind of let it go. I don't know, I've never really done this before in like a small garage with small tools. So let's see, maybe it'll drop. Maybe I'll break some stuff. Maybe maybe the jack stands will fall out. Maybe we'll break the car even more. Not bad. I'm gonna teach you guys how to remove brake lines from a really old car. You grab a pair of these boys, and then you go to those boys, and then you just... I have trapped myself in a corner, so let me show you guys where I'm at. The front end is totally disconnected. I did not account for the fact that the wheels would be taller than my jack stands, so I can't just slide the front end out. That was my plan. My plan was to unbolt everything and then just slide it under. But I didn't even think about the fact that the wheels will be way too big. I've come to an even crazier solution. I'm going to get my engine hoist, cherry picker, and attach it to the front of the body. And then I'm going to hoist it up as high as I possibly can and slide the front end out. I've gone this far, and disconnecting all the parts at this point would just be a hassle. So I'm gonna use an engine hoist on a car body. It worked. I got the front end out, and I actually realized something really great about this. So the front end is hoisted super high up in the air, which actually allows me to work under the car and get to all the spots that I didn't know how I was gonna get to. I was thinking about getting like a rotisserie so I could like take the car and like spin it on its side and then, sand down the bottom. I think I'm just gonna do this. I'll sand, where I can here. And then when I'm done, I will, put this back together, paint the front, prime it at least, and then maybe put wheels back in the front and lift the back up, take the rear end out, and then sand down there. So, I added like a week onto the sanding process, but I can finally get to all those spots that I wasn't really sure how I was gonna get to. That was a lot of rambling, but I think you guys get the gist of it. More work equals more episodes. So I think I'm gonna call it quits on this episode because we got a whole lot of work done and the car is like floating in the air right now. So I think this is a great time to stop. The next episode, we will be prepping the areas that I didn't think we were gonna be prepping for paint, like the undercarriage and the wheel wells, etc. So until next time, like, comment, subscribe. I'm BradBuilds, and thanks for watching.
Teeth.